How many hidden Stephen King references are there in the show? What has Sydney done the same way that Winona Ryder did over 30 years ago? And what shocked the cast for real during filming of that mind-blowing moment? Hi, my name's Dylan, and these are 5 hidden details you didn't know about the new Netflix hit I'm Not Okay With This. Number 1. The secret behind that mind-blowing moment. Something was blown up for real during that epic scene, but instead of Brad's head, it was a balloon. The showrunners created a special dummy and placed a balloon full of blood on the top of it. The funny thing, though, is that nobody from the cast had any clue how massive the burst would be. And though the showrunners briefly mentioned a possible messy outcome, the cast expected the burst itself to be done in post-production. So imagine how shocked the poor actors were when that explosion really happened.
Just like, the poor extras had no idea how covered they were about to get.
They just thought they were going to stand around and watch some sort of special.
One more hidden detail about this spectacular scene is that Brad actually predicted the explosion. A few minutes before it happens, we see Brad talking to his friend about the upcoming school party, and suddenly he says,
"Let's just say that tonight's gonna be fucking mind-blowing."
And as we all know, the night really was mind-blowing. Number 2. Hidden Stephen King references. Well, to start with, the entire tale of a bullied and tormented teenager coming to terms with telekinetic powers was originally done by Stephen King. In his first novel about Carrie White, you can easily find dozens of similarities with I'm Not Okay With This. Even the fact that, just like Sydney, Carrie's father tragically died before she discovered her superpowers. Then, similar to Carrie, Sydney gets covered with blood at a school dance. These references are especially recognizable thanks to Brian De Palma's film adaptation of Stephen King's novel. More so, some of Stephen King's novels actually appear in the show itself. For example, the second novel in King's Dark Tower series can be seen on a shelf in Sydney's bedroom during a fight with her mom. Too bad Sydney didn't have a copy of Carrie there. Perhaps it could have saved her from that bloody ending. The similarities between Carrie and the Netflix show are so obvious that fans wrote numerous tweets about it, like this one. I'm Not Okay With This is the best adaptation of Carrie since 1976. Finally, Sophia Lillis and Wyatt Oleff both have a strong connection to Stephen King's universe. They both played memorable characters in the most recent adaptation of King's novel, It. Oleff even has the same name which he had in It. Only the surname has changed from Stanley to Stanley Barber. By the way, the fact that Sophia and Wyatt had already become close friends on the set of It played a huge role in the casting of I'm Not Okay With This. While Lillis was chosen first for the show, Oleff was still on the waiting list along with other possible partners for Sophia. But when showrunners found out about Wyatt and Sophia's friendship and saw the great chemistry between the two, the decision became obvious.
Good job.
Thank you.
Number 3. That 80s nostalgia. Perhaps you've noticed that the whole setting and style of the show is taken from the 80s. There's a reason behind that. Co-creator of the show, Jonathan Entwistle, who, by the way, also created The End of the Fucking World, wanted to make I'm Not Okay With This feel like it could have been set anytime from 1988 to 2006. And of course, 80s aesthetics and old school settings are a big tribute to John Hughes movies. Stanley with his vintage blue suit reminds us a lot of Ducky from John Hughes' Pretty in Pink. And not only because of his looks and his fast-talking manner, but also because he loses the fight for the main girl's heart. One particular scene where Stanley is dancing in front of the mirror is shot exactly like a popular style used in movies from the 80s. Just compare the editing of the scene of Wyatt Oleff preparing for his date with similar scenes from Risky Business or Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and you'll see what I mean. Sydney, on the other hand, is obviously similar to a young Molly Ringwald, who also played in John Hughes movies. One of the episodes of I'm Not Okay With This almost entirely mirrors scenes from Hughes' famous movie, The Breakfast Club. Especially during those moments where Sid and her classmates are stuck together in detention and later on, when they hatch the plan to break into the principal's office. Even the looks of the characters resemble the kids from The Breakfast Club. One more 80s reference is how Sydney narrates her Dear Diary monologues, which is most likely a tribute to what Winona Ryder did in the iconic 80s movie, Heathers.
Dear Diary, Heather told me she teaches people real life. She said, real life sucks losers dry.
Number 4. Music reveals the plot's secrets. Nothing complements a series better than a great soundtrack. And the I'm Not Okay With This creators definitely know this. Not only did they choose great hits, most of the time the song lyrics mirror the mood or the idea of the scene, and sometimes it's very straightforward. For example, The Kinks' I'm Not Like Everybody Else opens the show about a girl who can ruin a whole forest when she's angry. And turns out that was exactly the point that the show's co-creator Jonathan Entwistle was striving for. I realized very early on that the more on the nose we were with the music, the funnier it was, the better it was, he shared. That's why we hear the song Every Time You Go Away when Liam and Sid tragically bury little Banana Wigglesworth, and why the tune, The Killing Moon, is played during the night after Sid killed the poor guy. Another hidden musical detail is about that mysterious band Blood Witch that Stan is so obsessed with. The thing is, the creators made up this band. The songs that we hear when Stan plays Blood Witch are actually composed by the duo of Graham Coxon and Tatiana Rashad. After the first season's release, the musicians even put out a full album just for fans of I'm Not Okay With This to vibe out to. You might be familiar with Graham Coxon's other works, as he also wrote the music for another famous Netflix series, The End of the Fucking World. Number 5. Hidden messages in the background. Sometimes you just need to pay attention to the background to notice some pretty amusing details about the show. For instance, when Dina is making that goofy attempt to sexily seduce the janitor in order to get a key, you can see the women's suffrage poster right behind her back. And in the right corner there's another poster saying, Women Who Shaped History. So there's an amusing ambiguity. Fortunately, the feminist posters, together with the progressive janitor's point of view, showed Dina the right way for healthier negotiations. Two other tiny details link the timelines of Jonathan Entwistle's two shows, I'm Not Okay With This and The End of the Fucking World. The showrunner revealed an exciting fact to Insider that the events of the two shows actually coexist in the same universe. And that's why there's a special newspaper on the table in episode 4 when Sid and her brother Liam are eating dinner together. Apparently, the front page article of the newspaper reveals the news about James and Alyssa's breakout from The End of the Fucking World. Unfortunately, fans won't be able to see a clear angle of the newspaper in any of the episodes. Here's what the showrunner revealed about this Easter egg to Insider. I think it's in the show multiple times actually, Entwistle said. It's always in the house. I don't know if you'll ever get a screenshot. I don't think it's clear enough on what actually ended up in the edit. However, there's another tiny Easter egg about The End of the Fucking World that fans can actually spot. One of Sid's notepads on her desk has the acronym for The End of the Fucking World written on it, while Sid is clearing her desk in episode 3. Have you noticed any other hidden details in the show? Share with us in the comments. And as always, thanks for staying awesome.